So
covered.
volunteering, can you explain what is the difference between a hostel and a college hostel? I mean, any horrible experience over there?
Yes, definitely. A lot of people got scammed by this guy who also.
I actually have, heard this story. Somehow she sold the hostel. Yeah, hi Mohit, how are you?
Hello, Shubham. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you so much. And thank you for doing this.
You're welcome. I'm sure this is gonna be so much fun, and I'm really excited to see how it goes ahead.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Thank you so much. So Mohit, start karte hain. So first of all, how it started traveling?
So it started in 2020. I remember when lockdown had happened, and then everything moved to work from home, and I had to move back to Gurgaon. And then everybody was stuck at home, so I was in Gurgaon at home all day, and then sort of I was working throughout, just like, and work was taking over so much, and I wasn't really doing much. And I felt like that my creativity, as I belong to a creative field, I felt like my creativity is sort of going down. And just because I'm surrounded in four walls wasn't helping me to, come up with new ideas every day. And I was sort of going down in that situation. So, and then while Instagram and while everybody was on Instagram, and, this thing about digital nomad sort of started becoming a trend. And I just kept seeing a lot of stories that people are actually starting to. It wasn't a thing in India, but then everywhere else, people had started doing that. Digital nomad situation. And then I in September, when it all started, a few of my friends and I decided that we should take a trip now, and things are getting better. We saw like lockdowns getting lifted in a lot of states. So we went to Jaisalmer for the first time, and that was actually my first hostel experience as well. We went to Jaisalmer and we stayed in hostel. And when we went there, we were actually the very first travel tourists who had actually come after the lockdown had been lifted. And we saw we were actually the only one staying in the hostel. And then they were also really happy to see like people have started coming back, and that was sort of the start to
Right.
traveling again after the lockdown situation. And then it sort of like gave me this idea that okay, now I have this job where I can be wherever I want to, and I can travel. And then I sort of started like how I can do more of it. I started planning my trips, and I started figuring out like how I can balance my work and travel, because I sort of always wanted to travel, but then I had this job where I had to be in the city, a 9 to 5 situation. So I wasn't sure if I'll be able to do it, but then lockdown sort of gave me that push. And then then I had to move back to Bombay for my work, where I finished my work, and then again lockdown situation 2 was coming in. And I then in March planned a trip with my friends to Goa. And then we went to Goa, we had a blast and everything. Again, there we stayed in a hostel. And then then I started realizing how hostels are so much fun. And then there were actually people coming in from other places as well. And then how it was building up a community for people, where you could, listen to people, have like a, like build up a community where you could just hear their stories and their experiences. And then there were actually a few travelers who had come in, and then they sort of shared their stories, like how they have been traveling for so long and they have been experiencing this hostel culture. And then I went back home, and within a week I thought like, okay, now I need to just do that and take up my laptop, and like where I have this opportunity where I can literally work from anywhere, I should just pick up my laptop and be there. So I and then I also had to sort of plan my budget, like how I'm gonna do that while I'm traveling. So I started there's this platform called Workaway. So I didn't want to buy the subscription, so I sort of did my research on like about the hostels on Workaway in Goa, where I filtered out like what's the best situation where people are looking for a creative volunteer, where I had no experience before. Like I belong to a creative field, I had no experience being in a hostel. So I did my research and found this hostel in Goa, in Anjuna, where I thought that it would be a great fit, because they were also starting up, and even if I do mistakes, it would be easier for me to just do whatever and learn from those mistakes, and there won't be many responsibilities for me. And so I applied there through Instagram, and then in a week the hostel manager reached out to me, and then he was like, okay, you should just come. And then stay here for a month and then we'll figure out
Right.
how it goes. And then I went there for a month. I was very scared, like, like how it's going to be, because I was literally leaving everything behind. I was going on a backpack and starting a new life altogether.
Right. Right.
And then I went there. The very first day was sort of, I felt like, okay, what am I doing? Like once I reached there, I was like, what am I doing? Is it like, is this gonna be real? Like, is it also something that I can do for long? I was actually stressed throughout the day, and then I went for lunch. I've never eaten alone, so I went out for lunch, and I felt like, oh shit, I don't want to do this. If this is what traveling means, I don't want to do it. But then later, when I came back to the hostel, I met these two people who were also traveling. Like they've been in Goa for a long time, and they were solo traveling as well. And then I started hanging out with them. They started telling me their stories, and then when I went to the beach, we literally hung out till 4 in the morning. And then how they told me their experience, sort of, okay, then I sort of managed to gather like how the traveling actually is. And then I was like, okay, I can do this. And then they
Right. Right.
became very good friends of mine. And then they made me meet other friends in Goa. So then that so became a chain, and then I kept meeting people every day, and then guests started coming over, so that was also more fun, where I was interacting with guests every day. I was planning like outings in the evening and all of that, planning games for them, and so it was fun experience. And then when it got over, I went back to Bombay. I thought, okay, I'm gonna just like get back to my job, like just move to Bombay, and then start continue doing what I'm supposed to do, like my job. But then at the moment I reached Bombay, I was like, oh, I don't think I can do it. Like, I want to, I want to go back to Goa, or maybe just travel again. So within 15 days, I actually moved back to
Back to
Goa.
Goa.
Like, I gave up my place in Bombay and I moved back to Goa. And then I stayed there for a very long time. And then this was the push to my traveling journey, which started here, right from Goa.
Oh,
It
it's really
started,
interesting.
yes.
Yeah. So, since you mentioned hostel,
Yeah.
can you just explain how the hostel culture is is growing in India? I mean, since you are experiencing
Yeah.
that, I've also experienced this because it is already established culture in Europe
Yeah.
and also the southern Asian countries,
Yeah.
right? So, how is it growing in India, and how is it like in India? Is it different or is it similar to other countries?
It's definitely different. It's still growing up. I mean, it's grown up now a lot, but I think back in 2020, where uh, it became a thing, like hostels became a thing, I think right after lockdown.
Right.
And they even like hostels across India. There aren't many hostels across India. Like, but if you see, it started with Goa. Like Goa had this, Himachal had this hostel culture. But now I think if you see everywhere in each and
Right.
every
Right.
state, the hostel culture is picking up, and then people usually prefer to stay in the hostel because it's when you're traveling solo, it's the best way to, it's affordable. You actually are not traveling solo, you meet a lot of people, there are a lot
Right.
of
Right.
experiences when you meet people. You like, I mean, even if you just like have no idea about the city, the hostel people or the hostel volunteers or the managers would guide you what you can do in the
Right.
city, and it's really helpful. I feel like there's a far way to go for the hostels, but I think a lot of hostels are doing really well in India, and like a few of the hostels that I've been to are actually doing really well. It also depends on what sort of services you are providing
Right.
and
Right.
how you are providing it, and also the people that you meet. So if all of that is set, I think the it's gonna go really well. Like, I would definitely say in hostels, as far as I'm traveling, I know that, yes.
Right. Right. So, tell me something about your craziest experience in any of the hostel. I mean, that you had.
Crazy in a fun way.
Yeah, in a fun way. In a fun way.
Crazy experience in fun way. I think every day was fun. Like every day there are like new stories, and every day has been uh crazy. But I think it was more when I think my birthday
Oh.
in 2021 was really crazy. I think I wasn't expecting it to be that crazy. It was just like five of us staying in the hostel, and
Right.
it
Right.
was also monsoon, and we were staying there for a very long time. And we became like a family, because it was just like
Right. Right.
five of us staying there and we couldn't go out, we couldn't come in, and we were stuck there. But then, and I wasn't expecting, my birthday to be that great, because it was like Goa, it was monsoon and everything. But then
So you were in Goa at that time.
I was
Okay.
in Goa.
Goa.
I was in Goa, and then everything was shut. Literally everything was shut. Nothing was open. It was because of lockdown and the monsoon, the season
Right.
off
Right.
season timing. But I think it was 29th evening. All of my friends came to the hostel, and then they sort of called other friends from other hostels who were from the same area. They also came in, and we started partying. And it was raining.
Oh,
There was music. We were chilling. We were partying till first in the evening. We literally partied for 24 hours, more than 24 hours, I
continuously.
think. Yes.
Okay.
And we were going to the beach, coming back because it was a
Raining,
sea
yeah.
facing hostel. We were going to the beach. The ocean was crazy. So that was a good experience. Then we went on a bike ride as well in the
Oh.
rains. Though I hate rains,
Right.
like I hate when it's pouring, but that experience was something else. Like I sort of enjoyed the company of the people.
Right.
It was a wholesome experience in total. So I think that would be the craziest because I don't like rains, and I spent my birthday in during the peak monsoon season in Goa.
Right.
So that was crazy, yes. But also, apart from that, I think there have been a lot of experiences. Like I wasn't sure that there have been experiences while I was traveling, which I figured out. Let's say surfing was something that I had never thought that I would be, interested in, and I would do it. But when I started doing it, it was so much fun. Like we went to, I think I'm more. I
Surfing in Goa only? Or?
No, it was in Kerala.
Was it Kerala?
It was in Kerala. Then, all these adventurous sports also give me, like, I wasn't sure, like, I had no idea that I would be able to do all of that.
Right.
But then when you are there, when there are people as well supporting you who are traveling together. So those experiences also, I think, were one of the craziest things that I've ever done. Like, sailing was one of the craziest experiences that I did. Surfing. Paragliding, I'm scared of heights. I wasn't sure that I would be able to jump out that cliff, but then the moment I did that, it was like I'm flying in the air, and I wanted to keep doing it.
Right.
Yes. So I think it's the people who would make your life crazier if you meet the right people when you're traveling. Yes.
It's also about pushing your limits,
Yes.
something like that.
Yes, definitely. It's about pushing your limits because I had no idea that I think it also changed a lot for me because I wasn't this person before. Like
Okay.
the moment I think started traveling, it changed me quite a lot. I am ready for like new experiences. I'm ready for new adventures. I'm ready to, face new challenges. When whatever comes to me, I think I'm ready to face it. Before that, I would think about it. If I should do it, if I should not do it. But now I'm like, okay, let's just go for it. It's definitely gonna be something crazy. Even if something worse come out of it,
Right.
that you're gonna learn out of it and move forward.
Yeah, I think you also learn budgeting, right? I mean,
Yes.
yeah. So, can you explain about how you budget your trips?
Oh yeah, so budgeting about that. So I think what happened, I started volunteering so that my stay could be covered, and then a lot of places also offer you
Okay.
food. So if my stay and food was
So,
covered.
volunteering, can you explain?
So volunteering is basically there are multiple portals where you could apply, like, or you could just directly reach out to the hostels or homestays wherever you want to be, and there are plenty of hostels who are looking for volunteers around, or you could provide them services what you are good in, and they would in return give you free stay and free food depending on how much they could offer. What I did, I volunteered at this hostel in Goa where I was supposed to manage their social media, which that also belongs to my background because I could do that.
Right.
I've also handled it well where I'm working, so it was easier for me to work on it. Like I was handling their social media. I had to curate experiences for the guests in the evening, like just basic guest interaction, show them places around and tell them places, all of that. But also while I was there, I also, because I'm a curious soul, like I wanna do new things every day, I started learning bartending there while I was at the hostel. So that was a crazy experience, one of the craziest experiences. Like I know like how to make cocktails at least now. Like I can get people drunk. Like getting people drunk was also fun because you're behind the bar, and then check-in check-outs was happening, like all of this. And it only happened because I was ready to learn all of this. And then also the hostel manager, he was also very interested in like teaching me all of that because he could see like I'm very curious to know all of that. While that wasn't a part of my volunteering, but I pushed myself to learn all of this while managing my full-time job. So it was so volunteering is actually helpful if you are traveling for a longer period of time. You could offer your skills to people, like, and there are many portals you could check it out and then apply as per your skills. It could be as basic as helping at the reception, to taking people out, to planning, to painting, art, like curating an experience for the hostel or the guest house. So you could do a lot of things while you're volunteering, and I think Europe has this culture. I think a lot of Western countries have this culture of volunteering where people volunteer while traveling. I think that's sort of building up in India as well,
Right.
which is really helpful if you want to travel for a long time and
Right.
also maintain your budget and cut down your costs.
So for someone who is just starting up this traveling career, so I think volunteering is a good option to
Definitely.
if you are in budget and starting it.
Yes.
And I think for learning purpose also, volunteering teaches you to handle people.
Yes.
First thing,
Yes.
I think you meet new people every day, right?
Yes.
So that you can learn from them. You can as you said, right? You can just give them services and all that.
Yeah.
So these hostels that you're talking about, right? So people usually compare this with their college hostels. Okay. So can you explain that? I mean, what is the difference between a hostel and a college hostel? I mean,
Yes, that's a major difference between a college hostel and hostel where you're traveling, a travel hostel or a backpack hostel. Backpack hostel is way different because you would be staying and living with different people every day. There are a set of rules that you need to follow. You have to also maintain that the other, you should not disturb other travelers while you are there. Everyone has their own space. You are in, like, even if you're sharing a dorm, everyone's still in their own zone. So you make sure that you respect that. There would be people, it would be more fun as well. There would be like common spaces where you could have fun. It's unlike your college hostel where you know that you're living with these people, like you have your daily schedule, like you have everything set, like you could do whatever, like inside. Once you are in college hostel, you could do whatever, but once you're traveling, it's a different experience. Also, I would say that it's more for like solo travelers, or like if you're traveling in a smaller group. It's definitely not for like families, I would say, because it's also like there are people from all sort of generations, like there are people from different states, from different countries, and they are coming and living together. So you have to sort of maintain and respect everyone's privacy, and everyone
Right.
also like be kind and gentle to them. Also, like you could definitely go and talk to them, and then they will have several stories to tell. But while you are in your common area, you could just play with them, plan, and then there are these volunteers in the hostels, or there are the hostel managers. They would sort of curate these daily outings for you, that, and then entire group get but then you make friends. Like our hostel, the friends are permanent, like
Right.
that they're gonna be there forever. Hostels, they would keep changing every
Right.
day. Like you will meet new friends every day, and then they would stay there for a week or like a few days, and then move on, and then you'll meet another people. So like it's a shuffle between people every time. So that's what hostel in
Nutshell. Yeah.
hostels are like.
Yeah.
Backpacking hostels
Any
are.
horrible experience over there?
Yes, definitely. I think it's been great. Like touchwood
Right.
throughout. Like it's been wonderful. Like living in hostels has been the best experience. One of the best experience that I've ever done. But there would be times where something or the other would come. There would be challenges as well, but I think somehow or the other it will work out. But there was this one incident while you're meeting so many people every day, and you would want to be a part of, like, the groups that are building up in the hostels, and like people hanging out. There was this one time I remember, we actually, just not just me, but like a lot of people got scammed by this guy who also
Oh.
pretended to be a tourist. Like he said that he's been traveling for a very long time.
Okay.
And we all actually got scammed by him. He said a lot of things about himself.
Okay.
And we all believed in him. Like we all believed that.
Said things like, I mean,
That's a story to tell later, but
Okay.
yes, but all of us got scammed, and then we all gave him certain money,
Oh.
which like I got my money back luckily, but a lot of travelers who had actually gone back, and a lot of tourists who had actually gone back,
Right.
did not get their money back.
Okay.
So that was the worst incident I ever. So basically, I think it taught me like how to not trust everybody. Make
Okay.
sure who you are talking to, how you're dealing with people, like how close you become with them. Though we actually all of us spent a good time together, but that one guy, and it was we all were amazed because none of us actually could figure out till the end, like where it was getting too much.
Okay.
You were actually we all were just like shocked, okay, what just happened, but so you cannot trust everyone, while you have to also maintain your boundaries
Right.
with people, which is
Right.
very important.
Right.
But definitely otherwise, like there I met the best of the people while traveling. But there was just this one
Right.
incident that sort of, like I get hesitate when I am like I make sure that I give enough time to understand people that I'm gonna hang out with. So be cautious of that while you're traveling solo. Like you cannot just trust everyone, like maintain your boundaries with everybody,
Right.
but then also then sort of understand that person and then get along with everyone.
So what was the story, if you're comfortable sharing
It's a
that?
long story though. It's gonna take a lot of time to once I start doing it. But so there was this guy who was staying there, and then he sort of told us that he's from this government agency
Oh,
in India.
okay.
And then he had this proper ID card and everything and all of these documents. And then we all sort of believed him because he looked legit. Like he
Okay.
looked legit. Like the way he played it was very
Right,
legit
right.
because it wasn't just me. It was like a lot of people who actually, you know, got conned by him.
He's a con man.
Yeah, he was a legit con
Legit
man.
con man,
And
yeah.
then he kept doing things for us while so we all thought, okay, wow, what a nice guy, and we were also doing things in
Right.
return for him. But then we didn't sort of figure out that everything what he was doing it was a pattern. Like he was asking money from everybody. Like if he's asked money from me, I'm not gonna tell other people that he's taken money from me, right? So he was doing that to everybody, and then he sort of taking money from him and returning it back to me, and taking money from someone else and then turning back to other person. So that became a chain for him.
Okay,
Like he
okay.
kept doing that, and then meanwhile with his money he was also like getting food and
Oh,
all of that for us while we were chilling, and like getting us drinks. So all of that was happening, and then in the end, like we figured out that it's happening a lot, and it's happening
right.
with everyone. And then we sort of caught him, and then a few people who had left couldn't get their money back. Luckily,
Oh,
like a few of us who were there
right.
got it back. So that was the incident, and that happened.
I actually have, heard this story. So there was a con girl, like your con man, right? So a girl was staying. She said that she is from France,
Okay.
and she was staying in Rishikesh, in my friend's hostel for a long time. She actually worked around the system. She get into volunteering then, and somehow she managed to become a manager over
Oh,
there
okay.
in 2 months only. She knew what she was doing, okay, and she told everybody that she's from France and all that, and somehow she sold the hostel.
Oh,
Okay, and she made a deal
yeah,
with someone,
yeah.
and they have sold, and she sold the hostel and all that. But the guy she sold the hostel was smart. Okay, somehow he figured out the number, and somehow he figured out who owns the hostel. So he called him in Delhi. So the owner was in Delhi. So he got to know about that lady is pretending to be the owner of that hostel. So they got into conversation and all that, and he reported obviously to the police, and police went to that hostel and all that, and then she was caught, and she was a legit con girl, and she has played this all over the Europe and all that, then South Asian countries, and finally when she came to India, she got caught.
Oh God. Yeah, that's what I think that because with the same guy who did that, there was a pattern because he did that in another hostel as well, where we checked
Right,
out
right.
before. And then he sort of ran away from this hostel. So he might have gone to different hostel as well. Like who knows like what he's gonna do. And
Right.
there have been a lot of scammers throughout. So one
Right,
thing that I
right,
have to
right,
be cautious
exactly.
about are the scammers. So be cautious about the people and like do your thorough research wherever you're going and whenever you're going. So that would be helpful. Like that's if you want to stay away from
I
worst
think this
experience.
is the scammers. Anyone who is traveling, should be very much concerned,
Yes.
and also very much cautious about these scammers.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so now where are you planning to go next?
I am actually planning to travel Southeast Asia.
Okay,
I have been doing my research, and
Okay.
then very soon I would be traveling across Southeast Asia. So that's
Okay.
my next plan for upcoming months.
month.
Yes.
Oh, that's nice. And what's your go-to place in India? I mean,
It is definitely Goa.
okay,
Not because of all the party and everything, but
Right.
also there's so much more to Goa than people see. Like if you like, I realized that after living there, that the culture, the community that you build, the places that are not really hyped up. Like if you there's the experience because it sort of as I said, it sort of changed me. Like I feel free whenever I'm there because the sort of people that I met there, I sort of connected with them really well. We all had our own journeys, but we all sort of synced well together. And I think every time I go there, there's just like this peace that I feel. And like also like I went right after work, so it helps me boost my creativity. I can just like I could and it's also a great place as in terms of resources as well. It's also pretty
Right.
close to the cities. Like it's not a city, but it has everything that you need in a city. It's also closer to my work city, so I can
Right.
travel back for work anytime that I want to, whenever I want to. And that the beaches, of
Right.
course, I love being around water, so
Right.
that sort of helps me, pushes me for my work as well.
Right.
And definitely the people that I met there, I mean, I would cherish them. I'm very grateful for the people that I met there. It's like
Right.
they are more than a family to me. And I would definitely just, if I'm in India, that's going to be my spot. And I would suggest everybody should just go visit Goa for what it truly is, and not for just the parties
Right.
and just the mainstream places. Try, being there and enjoy the core of it. I was living there as a local, which sort of helped me, figure out a lot of places, and then for a lot of experiences that I'd never thought that I would be a part of.
Right. Right. So which part of Goa you like?
I was living in North Goa. I
Okay.
was living around Anjuna, Vagator. I lived, then moved to Seolim.
Right.
So I covered most of that area, yes. So North Goa, it is.
One important question. Okay.
Yes.
This all the conversation going on regarding this tourist and travelers.
Yes.
So I know you've been a tourist
Yes.
and you've been a traveler.
Yeah.
So can you state the difference?
I think I can
Yeah.
definitely,
Yeah.
because initially, before this situation of hostel happened, I was a tourist.
Okay.
I would go to places just to, chill, just to party,
Right.
just to see. Like there would be a shorter itinerary where I have to make sure that I have to, checklist all these places. Like I have to go to the places that are on Instagram or Google. I'll have to make sure that I go to those places. I have to make sure that the places that I'm booking are also like I'm comfortable, they are worth the price,
Right.
the services are
Luxury
provided
and all
well,
that.
luxurious travel. But then when I started living in a hostel, I realized that there's so much more to it.
Right.
Like I don't want to do just so that I could checklist my Google and Instagram, places. There, as a traveler, you have to respect the places that you are going to. You have to respect the people that you're around. You have to make sure the way you are traveling, the way you are spending, the way you are experiencing things, the way you see everything is totally different. Like, when you're living there, it's more about the experiences than just just making sure that you see everything. Like it's okay to miss on important things, but also like how nice you're absorbing
Right.
out of that place
Right.
is
Right.
more important. So again, like for me, I think now the traveling has become like a regular thing for me. So and it's also it's something that I want to keep doing, and I don't want to rush into it. I want to, wherever I am, I would want to make sure that I absorb enough of that place or that experience, and then sort of check it out of my list, and then move ahead and then explore different places. And also travelers are mostly also dependent on how you're traveling. You have to be very conscious about everything. Like you have to make sure you're sustainable. You're also not you're like, appreciating everything.
You're
You're
not littering
appreciating the
around.
place. Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
littering. You're not you're also maintaining like how
Decorum
you
of
keep
that.
your house. You are also making sure that wherever you go, you make those things also like that. Like
Right.
even if in terms of like how you treat your people, you have to make sure that you treat everybody like that while you're traveling. Also, it's basically about how well you would cherish the things around,
Right.
like, and then appreciate everything that's and then experience it in a way that it's not gonna happen again. Like give
Right.
your best to that place or
Right.
wherever experience
And
that
have
you're
lot
going
of
to.
fun.
And have
Because-
while doing that and have a lot of
I think hostel are the best place to have.
Yes,
I think the experience that they gave. I know if you go to some luxury place, you'll feel good for
Yes.
for 1 hour or 2 hours, something like that. And when you come back, it's just the experience that just
yeah, definitely. It's for me, it's a balance of both. I would also not give up on
Right,
that
right.
side as well. I
Right.
would make sure that because when I am all stressed out, like I'm
Right.
done traveling and I need my space, I would definitely go to that. But then also, I would not, most of my traveling would be focused on this side, also like on a slow travel
Right.
situation where. Because I've seen like a lot of people when they come to the hostel, like I've seen now because hostels become a thing, like a trend, and everybody wishes to stay in the hostel. I've also seen like there are people who would not appreciate your space.
Right.
They would just like just like ruin your like peace, your calm, or just even if you're just like in your dorm room or in your in just sitting in a common area, they would think that that place belonged to
To
them,
them, yeah.
which is not a good idea
Right,
when you're traveling. So make sure that while you're traveling, you sort of not do that, and then
right,
travel in a way that you uh, are being cautious of what you're
right,
doing,
right.
and like
I can,
rethink your situations
yeah,
or
I can
rethink
relate
your
to you. Yeah.
steps. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. So I can relate to you regarding that. Okay. So one time I was on the hostel alone, and it was quiet. It was good, and so we were having bonfire and all that, and everything was settled down near 11 or something.
Okay.
Okay, and it was in Himachal. So what happened after 11? Everybody was going to their dome, and and I remember I was going there, and on the reception I saw some people. Okay, who are from a community. Okay, so I don't want to name them, but they were, the way they came to the hostel, and the way they had, like, big bottles,
Yeah.
of whiskey and whatever the things that,
Alcohol.
yeah, alcohol and different kind of alcohol. And they were, I think, 4 or 5 people, and
Yeah.
they were carrying, I think, 7 8 bottles at that time.
Okay.
And they just placed, and they were already drunk, and they just placed it over the reception when they were just paying around and all, and they were already drunk. And that night it was all loud, and nobody could sleep. Everybody was like, I mean, was planning to overstay, but after that incident, they just left the hostel and they shifted to another hostel who doesn't allow this. So that also, I think, very experiential thing that you talk
Yes.
about. I think.
Also, there are so many types of hostels as well. Like,
Right,
like you
right.
could choose amongst the different options of hostel that you have.
Right.
There could be like party hostels. Now there are hostels, the concept of bed and breakfast hostels, and there's
Right.
a co-working hostel, then there
Right.
are these boutique hostels. So
Right.
you could choose among these hostels where you fit in best.
Right.
Like party, if you really wanna just be partying all night and everything, you could definitely choose party hostels where
Right.
like they are partying throughout. So then if someone's working, they might not be
Not.
affected by the the steps that you take. So you can choose where you want to be, but also again then make sure that you are being decent about
Right.
everything. Like
Right. Right.
you do not own the place, so you have to be smart about that fact, as you said.
Right. Right. So let's conclude with the this conversation with a simple question.
Yeah.
So there are many elements. Okay. So basically there are 5 elements. Okay.
Okay.
So the elements are spirit, water, air, and then you have fire and earth.
Yes.
So what do you think is your element?
My element definitely is water. My zodiac sign is also water.
Water.
I am a water baby. Like I love being in water. I love being around. Like I love mountains as well. But also I think there's something about
Right.
beach that just pulls me every time.
Right. Right.
Being in water, being around water just keeps me to the ground. Like I
Okay.
know, and even if like all these experiences mostly
Right.
that are related to water, like surfing and
Right.
sailing and like all of that, I enjoyed it. Like I just didn't want to come out of it. Like I just
Right.
wanted to be there throughout for my
Throughout.
life. And also when I'm around it, I know like that, like it sort of helps me. Usually that happened in Goa as well. Like whenever like I'm low or whenever I'm thinking like there's some difficulty or challenge, I would just go to the beach and just like literally talk to it, and then it's just helps me calm down. Like it just sort of gives me answers. Like like I know what I want to do next, and
Right.
so water is definitely my element.
So just last one thing.
Yes.
I know I said it before.
No,
Like,
definitely.
just
Go
last
ahead.
thing. Tell our audience
Yes.
why you should travel.
Oh, why you should travel? You all should just keep traveling. I think traveling is the best thing that one can do.
You think it's a
It's-
therapy?
It's a therapy, definitely. It changes you a lot. It changes the way you see things. It changes the way of living. It changes. You definitely learn a lot.
Right.
I have become a different person, as I said.
Right,
Like
right, right.
it taught me quite a lot. Like I was this naughty kid. I still am, but like I also have the Zen side now. Like and also when you travel, the more people you meet, the more stories that you
Right.
would listen, that would inspire you in so many
Right.
ways. Like every other person has a different story that you could listen to, and they all are on their own different journeys, which is very inspiring. That is what I think traveling is all about for me. Like I just want to keep traveling and keep meeting people, keep experiencing different things. It also gives you it pushes you to be be kind, be humble,
Right,
be
right.
adventurous.
Makes you
also
better.
makes you better in all the ways. Like,
Right.
like you're also, because like you're always moving,
Right.
you're always running, like it helps your body, it helps your mind, it helps you in all the ways.
Right, right, right. So we also met in a hostel,
Yes,
on a
that's
hostel. So that was I think that experience was crazy.
that was
Yeah.
again one of the
Best
amazing
experience, I think.
experiences that
Yeah.
we
I've
had. Like,
met many amazing people, and you are definitely on the A list.
thank you
And
so
thank
much.
you so much for doing this.
Thank you. It was a great conversation, and
Definitely,
it was
man.
so much
Definitely.
fun having this discussion. I think I've never. It was also like I sort of could speak a lot about it because like
Right,
this
right,
comes from my heart, because
right,
like I am a part of, like, I want to keep doing it because I love traveling
right.
so much. I think I really enjoyed having this
I think
conversation with you.
this also gives a inspiration, and also uh, a way to travel. I think
Yes.
I think whoever is listening to this, I
Yes.
think they'll get to know about the experience. Through your experience, they get to know about the traveling world.
Yes.
Who are really want to start, or already have started.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that will be a great help to them.
Definitely. I hope it helps people. I hope it pushes people to, pushes them to travel and keep traveling as much as they can and whenever they can, if they have the opportunity. And also, there are so many ways that, you could just research about that. There are so many
Right.
ways that you could make your traveling so much easier. You just have to make sure that you do good research,
Right.
and you know what you're doing.
Right.
And then life would just accept you in all the ways.
And also tell people how to reach out to you if they want.
Oh, definitely. You can reach out to me on my Instagram, which Shubham will put in on the podcast, that link.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mohit. Yeah, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I hope आपको ये podcast बहुत पसंद आया होगा. अगर आपके पास भी ऐसी कोई इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी है जो आपने अपनी ट्रैवल जर्नी में एक्सपीरियंस की है, तो हमारे साथ जरूर शेयर कीजिएगा. डिस्क्रिप्शन के अंदर डिटेल्स हैं, और कमेंट करके ज़रूर बताइएगा शेयर करने के बाद.